fighter, not a fighter, and new circumstances. Just guess and imagine you get a new job for the first time in your life. A new job, let's say you are from Morocco or from Germany, in India, in China, or in Argentina. One thing is sure, you have to learn the language, you have to learn about the culture, and you have to learn about rules. It depends on your age, how much and how full is your library from experiences, habits, and knowledge. But again, one thing is sure, you have to merge. You have to learn to unlearn. Otherwise, with my German habit, I would definitely fail in China. I know what I'm talking about because I have an institute in Shanghai. So, I think we have to reinvent ourselves, and that is my science. I'm working in this field since 5 years. We are working in the Sigmund Freud University in Vienna. You can imagine it has to do with psychology and psychology as well. And we invented something new. Andrea said it already. It is future psychology. Future psychology tries to expand the ability to imagine. We developed a method to make interviews. We tried it 5,000 times. We speak to you, for example, and we would talk about 15, 20 different perspectives of life, your private life, your business life, your age, and whatever. But every question has to do with your life within 20 years. So we force you to imagine and have associations about a life in the future, and you don't have answers for that. So you are forced to use your brain, and you are developing different images. This has a particular effect on your brain, and that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about philosophy, unfortunately, not about culture. I think the shortcut to be on an adaptive level of the new consciousness in the world is that we all are training our brains. Why is it necessary? We spoke about this new job somewhere abroad. The main thing is that maybe 5% of the world population is in a position to travel like this. 95%, the others, all of us, we stay in different life circumstances. But nevertheless, our brain has to change. We are living as world citizens now. It depends where, but the main thing is artificial intelligence, virtual spaces, robots, and of course, exponential thinking and quantum computing will change our world and our thinking in a way which has never appeared in all human history. Just give you very short 2 examples. See a kid with 5 or 6 years, a girl or a boy. For 5,000 years, they had a lot of respect to their parents. They had a lot of respect to their grandparents almost all their lives. Today, even my son is 12, but when he was 6, I wouldn't say he lost his respect already, but one thing is sure, he knew more about technical things than me. Now he's my consultant, I have 3, but doesn't matter. Okay, now he's my consultant, and regarding his parents, I mean, they live in different dimensions. Also his brain, not only my son, many people all over the world who are grown up as digital natives, they are not better, they are not worse, but their brain is definitely working differently. And if your brain works differently, you will appear new values. So we can't expect that we decide about our values and the kids will take it. No, no way, not at all. So, I'm talking about the radical change within the last 10 years. I mean, we are not really feeling it because the girls and guys in Silicon Valley or in Tel Aviv or somewhere in Finland who are deeply into the new technology, for them it's normal, you know. But for people who never heard about it, it's almost sensational. If I would have told my grandmother that an avatar of mine is holding a lecture at the same time now in a different country, she would have sent me to mental hospital right away. But it is possible. So the things around us are changing in a drastic way, and either we try to adopt or we are left behind. There's no doubt about it. A little bit about our work. I spoke already and mentioned the interviews. I mean, we get our content from interviews with people and from their imagination. I strongly believe that the biggest gift we have is fantasy. I mean, even Google or Apple is coming out of fantasy. Who is able to foresee the future? Definitely not an advising company, as not McKinsey and not Boston Consulting, but science fiction authors. If you see Huxley, if you see, I mean, just Star Wars, 40 years ago, they dreamt about particular possibilities of worlds, and most of it came through. So it shows that the biggest power we have is our fantasy, you know, but we are not training it. From parents and teachers you hear normally, either your kid is very well with fantasy, or he has to learn a little bit as a different type. He has a different identity. I don't believe that at all. We have various identities, and we'll talk about it later. So you see, we do these interviews not as persons anymore. Either you do this interview with you do it with our robot, Pepper, or you do it with our avatar. That could be me or somebody else. What is the effect of talking to a robot or to talk to an avatar? You are wearing this VR glasses, and you are in a totally different space. Yeah? You are much more confronted with the person you are talking to. You have no handy smartphone, you are not smoking, so you really are into the discussion with another person. And that makes a focus which gives you much more concentration. And the effect of this kind of immersive talking gives you an advantage, like you remember better than before. Yeah? You have more access, and that is the most important thing, to your subconsciousness. And I believe that our subconsciousness, that is the only answer we will have to this new IT world or to exponential growth. Otherwise, in any case, it is superior to us. I mean, just see a language. You know, it took me long to learn a little bit, a second or third language, and I can't speak it still. But today, I mean, you have to speak at least 5, 6, 7, 8, but it takes a lot of time. In Shanghai, I spoke about it yesterday, they gave me a little machine like this. I'm talking in German, and the machine can translate whatever I say into 80 languages. So my kid, of course, can ask me, why should I learn English, French, and Spain? Just give me your machine, and I can do something instead, you know? Yeah, this question will come. And this question is not only valid for languages, it will be valid for jobs, for other things. You know, this is the world we are going to. So we have changed so dramatically within the last 10 years, but we have a very paradoxical situation. We have more knowledge than ever before in human history, but unfortunately, we have less understanding, which is really paradoxical. The other thing is we have more money than ever before in human history, but we still have too much injustice and millions of people who are starving. So I could talk for hours now about all these contradictions. But what is a contradiction in your head? It's a problem. And problems are causing stress. And if you have stress, it's very simple, almost dumb. you know. You can't have access to your full power. Yeah? What are the results of it? Just, time is running, so an internet minute, just have a look. All these informations are available. No brain can take it. Not even million brains can take it, you know. But we have to do something with it. And this information tsunami is doing something with us, but we are not reacting. Or do your kids or yourself, you have a course in university about brain architecture. That's exactly what we need. Everybody, kids have to start with 3-4 years. And it's easy, I tell you it's easy. You don't need a teacher, you don't need a coach. You go to your library or you find it in the internet, so many books about brain. This is for me, and this is my message also, because I changed myself without wishing to within the last 3 years in an incredible way, more or less by accident. I don't know whether it's good or not, but one thing is sure, I'm faster than ever, and I learn much quicker than ever. Let's say where it will go to. So, we were talking about contradictions already. We have more knowledge than ever, but we have less understanding. Of course, we have more options than ever, but that forces us to decide. We have to learn to decide. Many people, even with a very good education, they are not able to decide. Because decision means you have to force yourself, you have to have a will, you know, to select out of all these options. A little example from yesterday, we took 100 refugees after 2 weeks in incredible danger in Vienna to a supermarket, you know, and with medical doctors and psychologists. And then we made interviews with them. And it was horrible because many people thought they will enjoy it for the first time to see 500 shampoos or soaps or whatever. No, for 90% it was a torture. You know, it was violence, it was horrible. So we shouldn't think in the Western world that all the people want material things. No, it's not true. It's something else. Okay, and as more options you have, of course, as more thoughts you have. You remember, or whatever, you saw this internet minute, you know. Can you imagine how this is awakening thoughts? And if you have too many thoughts, think is fantastic, but if you have too many thoughts, it's very difficult to select something. But if you are not able to select, you know, then nothing will change in the end. This all goes back to our brain. And to make it very simple, our brain has 3 very important elements. The oldest is 500 million years old, reptilian brain, but that just knows 3 activities: fight, flight, freeze. Then we have our limbic system, which is our emotionality, and we have the neocortex just here, which is the newest development. And we are very proud. Here is our wisdom, here is our rationality, here is our will to do something. But as soon we have too much stress, as soon somebody died in your family, or as soon you get depressive, or as soon something is going wrong, or you too much stress again, you go down to your reptilian brain. Yeah, it's called amygdala. Just look in the internet, you read about it, and it will give you a very important advice. So many people of us under stress can't work properly, can't decide properly. And for that, we don't have to go to a doctor. I mean, if it is too heavy, of course. But just read about the brain development, and then you see. Regarding identities, we have more egos than ever before. That is a new development within the last 10, 15 years. More egos means somebody of you is not with Facebook, but all the friends are with Facebook, and they talk bad about you. You know, I know sometimes it led to suicide. You know, it's a virtual identity. So you have a virtual identity, for example, without any influence on it. So we have to get used that we have more egos than ever before in human history. And of course, we have to get used that this is combined with more realities. But there's none of us, I'm sure, who went to a university or a school who is teaching the orchestration or adaptation of realities. That is something really new, and we have to learn it. And something what our brain never did, you know, that we have to learn. You can't say he's a natural talent. Natural talent is an ability to react, but something what never happened in your brain can't be a reality. So we have a lot of, time is over, we have a lot of identities, more than ever before. We have more egos, we have more realities, so we have to find a possibility to adopt. And honestly, you can read from Schopenhauer to whatever, which is very good for your brain, but read about the brain architecture and reinvent yourself. You can change so much, which is really incredible. And the last image, which is combining, I think, also other reports today and other lectures, through meditation, for example. You do so much for your brain, it's incredible. You know it from the Dalai Lama, he's connected with Stanford research. He's changing. You know that monks can think in a different way. They can reduce their heartbeat. I mean, that is brain power, and I think that the brain power is the most important thing in the future. The same thing is with fantasy, you know. And of course also future biography. Talk to your family, talk to your friends, and develop new imaginations about your future. And write it down. And you will see, you just do it. If it doesn't work twice, give me a call and say you're an asshole. Oh, sorry, you are a fool. I can prove that it will work. So that's enough for now. Thank you very much.